Welcome to Mitchell ELF. Our theme this year is adaptations, and this unit is Teeth and Skulls, and this is Center 3, Skull Study. The goal of this center is for students to examine and compare and contrast animal skulls and teeth and to relate that to animal diet types. There are a variety of sample skulls for use in this center. This center is one that could use more than one parent volunteer. All of the skulls that we have in this center are on loan to ELF from the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. Each skull is packaged in a Ziploc bag with packing material and the skull name on it, and we've color-coded them for their diet type. Please take extreme care in handling each skull, as some have separate upper and lower pieces. If a skull becomes damaged in any way, you can contact me, and my email address is on your outline, fishingyak@aol.com, or you can email mitchellelf@gmail.com. Please immediately collect and save all of the pieces, as the museum may be able to repair them. Our goal is to return the items exactly the way that we received them. That being said, as students come to this center, the first thing you want to do is talk to them and remind them that these are on loan to us from the museum, that we need to be super careful. Students need to remain seated. They need to use a two-finger touch. If they do pick up the skulls, which some of the older kids in this center that might be acceptable to examine them, that they need to do that over the table, not so they don't go crashing to the floor. What else? And just be super careful, but again, let the kids explore them. And we haven't had any problems in the past, so just reiterate the two-finger touch, which is where they can touch with two fingers, they can feel with two fingers. They shouldn't wiggle the teeth, they shouldn't pull on the teeth, they shouldn't stick their fingers in the orifices, and they should not be doing the whole deal where you take these and pretend like they're singing and talking, which is why it's a good idea sometimes to separate the lower mandible from the skull and present them like that. And that's a really good way for them to investigate with a magnifying glass. That way there's less temptation to go ahead and make the animals talk. So before you begin this center, you should decide what skulls you want to get out. You need a minimum of one skull from each type: a omnivore, a herbivore, a carnivore, and an insectivore, which I don't have an example for at my house, but there is one. There's a bin of them at school. We've separated each type into its own carefully packed box at school, so it hopefully should be easy for you to choose one from each. I would lay the skulls out and bring them out one at a time so the kids will focus on each skull. But you need to keep each skull with its corresponding packing material and all that stuff. You may choose to display them with all those skulls with the same diet type next to each other, or you may choose to mix them up. You'll give each student a hand lens and then have them start exploring and looking at what types of eaters the animals were. So you could do this in a variety of ways. One way that I think would be really effective, especially with the older kids, is to have them each fill out this skull investigation sheet. It's a great take-home, a great way for them to discuss it with their parents. You'll need to make your own copies. The PTA copy code is 19540, and you can do that in the paraprofessional workroom. So that's one way to do it. With the younger kids, you could use this too, but you would have to probably fill it out and help and check it off as a group, as if you were doing the investigation all as a group rather than individually. So, you can also use these different laminated sheets to help students have different clues about the skulls and the teeth and their locations. And some are real general, and then some are on specific species. So that might help the students investigate that. So any resources, there's also these things called skullduggery among the animals, and it's a whole kind of key showing you what each skull looks like, what the teeth look like, where the eye sockets are, and what they would eat, and what those why that arrangement of teeth is important for that animal's survival. So, again, I was trying to say you should use any of the resources that help students in their investigation. They're trying to be scientists here, and you could kind of approach it from a, you've found this skull, or these set of skulls, and you have to determine what foods they ate, and what animals they were. So to that end, have students focus on how the skulls are different and record their observations, either on the skull study worksheet, or you can simply discuss it. You can ask them which had the most teeth, which had the fewest teeth, any other questions that help them distinguish different teeth types and skull features among the various animals. Your goal is to try to expose the students to as many skulls as they can readily examine during this center. So hopefully your group has chose to do 20-minute centers, since there are only 4, because you'll use the whole 20 minutes for kids to investigate. If you have any questions, you can email us at mitchellelf@gmail.com. And thank you again to everybody who showed up to participate in the training on using these materials. And thank you all for your care and for directing the students to be careful as they use these materials. Thanks.